Temperatures are starting to soar. That's why Dr. Yvette Lu joining us. Perfect timing for this one. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Our goal is to avoid the heat illness, heat stroke. So let's start with this. We want to get outside, get the vitamin D. What's a healthy dose of sunshine per day?
Well, you know, naturally when we're out in the sun and out and about, we normally do get normal sunshine. So I wouldn't actually recommend going into the sun and actually getting a dose of vitamin D from the sun and getting a dose of sun. It's probably better just to get your vitamin D from food and just get whatever sunshine you get naturally from walking around.
So what are the signs and symptoms when it comes to the idea of, okay, we've got an illness here because of the extreme heat we're about to face?
Yeah, so basically heat illness can be a very serious condition, and it's important to recognize the signs and symptoms early, because if you let it go, it can become like a medical emergency. So usually when we're first starting to get heat-related illness, we sort of feel tired, you might feel weak, dizzy, you might faint, you might have a headache, skin becomes pale and moist. You can get really heavy sweating. You can also get things like swelling of your hands and feet, a heat rash, nausea and vomiting, muscle cramps, and then if it gets more serious, you can have trouble breathing, a racing heart. The skin, instead of moist and cool, becomes red and hot, and then if it becomes more serious, then you can get confusion, hallucinations, seizures, and even a coma. So obviously, you want to catch it way before it gets to that point. Serious
consequences involved, so then it's what can we do to avoid facing these things in the first place?
Right, so you want to protect yourself by drinking lots of fluids. You want to stay cool, wear a sunscreen, wear a hat, stay in the shade, long sleeve clothing, and you want to just recognize the signs and symptoms in people around you, right? So especially like children, infants and children, they're more susceptible to heat illness. Elderly people, so if you have relatives living alone, especially elderly relatives living alone, you want to check on them during a heat wave. If you're doing a lot of physical activity, like a race outside, then you want to be careful about that. People working in hot conditions, those people are more susceptible. People who are overweight don't lose heat as quickly as other people, so they are more susceptible to heat stroke. Drinking lots of alcohol or caffeine, that will make you more susceptible as well. And people who have chronic illness or on certain medications are at higher risk of heat stroke. So all these people have to be extra careful about heat.
What would you say are best hours of the day to be outside, given the heats are going to soar throughout the daytime?
You want to stay inside during the hours of 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. That's when it's the hottest. So maybe early morning and evening is the best time to enjoy the outdoor weather.
Nice rule of thumb. And for those going down to the beach, seen some new information about the idea of sunscreen, whether you use the lotion, the sprays, the particles we're inhaling. What's your take on what's going on with that?
So with this spray-on sunscreen, there are two main concerns. The first concern is that you're breathing in the particles accidentally, because when you spray, the sunscreen goes into the air as well as on your skin, and you can breathe in the particles. Anytime you're breathing something in, whether it be like sunscreen, air pollutants, cigarette smoke, or allergens, there's always a risk of having like an allergic reaction or having an asthma attack, especially in people with asthma, people who are susceptible. So you want to avoid breathing that as much as possible. What I actually recommend is spraying it into your hand and then spreading it on the skin. So actually using it more like a cream or a lotion.
And does it matter whether it's an aerosol can or the spray you kind of pump? Same thing, particles in the air, and that can have an impact?
Exactly. Particles are still particles. And never spray it on your face. So you want definitely for your face, even if you're not going to do it for your body, but for your face, spray it on your hands, spread it on your face, because that's just asking to inhale particles if you're sort of spraying it right in front of your face.
A lot of good tips, a lot of good reminders here, because sunscreen is only the starting point for sun safety.
Exactly. So we have to make sure we do a full plethora of things for sun safety. So you have sunscreen, the hat, the long sleeve clothing that we talked about earlier. And what people have to remember is that if you put on sunscreen, it's not like a free pass to go sit in the sun, right? Sunscreen is just meant to protect you for the times that you happen to be in the sun. It doesn't mean that if you put on sunscreen, you can go and sit out in the sun for 6 hours.
Don't want to look like the red lobster on the back or the front, because that happens every time the sun comes out in the summer season. Great tips. Dr. Yvette Lu joining us once again. Thank you so much. I like the baby blue blazer, by the way.
Thank you very much.